Harry Belafonte, thank you. Thank you for a lifetime of commitment and struggle. And it's,
Thank you.
There is no one who has traveled as far
Yes.
in terms of being there for the people, not just in these great United States, but throughout the continent of Africa, Asia, Europe, throughout the Caribbean, and has never backed away from controversy. A man who is the 21st century's example of the great Frederick Douglass, who speaks truth to power. And you should know that we not only appreciate it, but we respect what you do and what you stand for, unbought, unbossed, and unbowed. That is unique in America today. Thank you. Mr. Belafonte, having traveled, you've been down to Louisiana, we've seen you, having addressed some of these issues. What do you want to appeal to this audience to do, and to America watching this? What do we need to do to make sure that the issues that we have witnessed over the last month are not allowed to disappear? What's our charge from you?
You know, the last thing Dr. King said to me before he was murdered was in my home when we were sitting planning strategy for the Poor People's Campaign, which was on the horizon of the politics of the day. That's why he went to Memphis. And in the course of that meeting, he seemed distracted and a little under-focused. And when we asked him what was the matter, Martin said, you know, I've been thinking long and hard about our struggle. We worked tenaciously for our rights. And the culmination of all that effort will be reflected in what we've come to call the integration movement. And I sit here deeply concerned that I suspect we are leading our nation on an integration trip that has us integrating into a burning house. I don't think we quite understood how pathetic that remark was. After all, we're in the midst of a very heady moment in our struggle. We were winning on a lot of frontiers. Bull Connor had been confronted. The bus boycotts had worked. Votes were coming. Even Lyndon Baines Johnson had been struck by the spirit and got up and talked about we shall overcome in the Congress. And for Dr. King to have been in this place at a time when we seemed to have been making great headway was a moment to pause and reflect. That reflection has taken longer than I had suspected it would, but it has certainly come to reveal itself fully when we look at the condition in which we find not only our world, but in particular our nation. The wreckage that's taking place down in the Gulf region, in the southwest part of the United States, is not the only wreckage that exists. We have a lot of wreckages around this country. And perhaps the most distracting and perhaps the most important wreckage to take a look at is really the wreckage of the Democratic Party.
Get him to the stage.
I've been a Democrat all my life. I have no treaty with the Republicans, nor do I really seek one. But the Democratic Party was not always our friend. As a matter of fact, a lot of what we had to struggle against was in the possession and the power of Democrats who came from the South. And when we showed them the tenaciousness and the conviction and the sense of great purpose that the people of this nation had into transforming our condition, all those Democrats from the South ran off and became Republicans as as an act of punishment for what we were trying to achieve as a people. And that punishment continues to play itself out. Eleanor Roosevelt was a close friend, and once sitting in Hyde Park with her, she told a story about a great black leader by the name of A. Philip Randolph. He was one of the great giants of the century, certainly one of the great thinkers. And she recalled an evening when A. Philip Randolph had been invited to a dinner at the White House. And just he and her and the President, Franklin Roosevelt. And during the course of the dinner, the President invited Mr. Randolph to speak his thoughts. And for a long time, A. Philip Randolph held forth on every list of grievances he could think of, for the people in the labor movement, for the people who were poor, for black people, and Roosevelt permitted him to hold forth without any interruption until he concluded. At the end of it, Roosevelt reached for a box of cigars, passed one around to Philip, and as he slowly lit the cigar, he turned to Philip Randolph and he said, "Philip, let me tell you, I've heard everything you've said. I've missed absolutely nothing. And there's nothing that you've said that I disagree with. And I do, in fact, have the platform to be able to make the transformation work that you're looking for. And I guess we're all looking for. I have just one request of you, and it is for you to go out and make me do it." It seems to me that there will be no loftier statements and no greater speeches to be made than have already been made. Certainly Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass, Fannie Lou Hamer down in Atlantic City when she challenged with the Freedom Mississippi Democratic Party. There are a lot of people who have made speeches that are as eloquent as will ever be written. And we've listened to a lot of redundancy. A lot of people who have carefully selected the phrases and applied them to the moment. What eludes us is the bankruptcy of the action itself. This poverty that our country is witnessing has never gone away. Most of the politicians I know of have visited these places of poverty. They make it their business when they're running for the highest office in this nation to go into the heart of our pain, our anguish, our indignities, and make promises only to walk into the places of power and then deny us. I guess part of the reason I'm here is to really look through the ravages of the Democratic Party and see if anything is really worth salvaging. When Dr. King said, "We're integrated into a burning house," we said to him, "What do we do about it?" He said, "We're just going to have to go out and become firemen." Well, maybe that's what my humble task is, to find the truck, get the hose, and know where to turn it on. This country reveals its moral decay every day of its existence. Our prisons, the largest prison system in the world, are filled with those who are the victims of poverty. The women who are disenfranchised, young teenage mothers, are victims of poverty. Poverty is knocking at our door all day long. It sits in the mirror for us to look in every morning. When we look at what's going on with the schools in this country, we build more prisons than we build schools. We have more young black men and women in the prisons of America than we have in the universities. Poverty is in our face all day long. Why is everybody behaving all of a sudden like this is some great revelation?
He is here? Are they both here right now?
And And I'll tell you something, there's a lot of people out here who are really pissed off. We are angry, we're upset, we're sad, we hold our children, we wheel our wheelchairs, we look around for some comfort, and we don't find any. Well, we have to look to ourselves, because I think the last frontier of truth and hope in this country are the people themselves. And I think our honorable senator is absolutely right. I'm not that much interested in '06. It's just another date for a lot of rich folks and a lot of anger, and for a lot of opportunists, a lot of people to go out and do their thing yet again. I'm interested in something much bigger, something much longer, and it's going to take much more time than just '06 to fix it. You know, we look at these things in terms of sound bites and short-term efforts. It's going to take longer than that. And I think we have to serve notice that we're looking for a second party. Some people will suggest that two exist. I say there's really one. It comes in various grades of difference. The American people have some decisions to make. Our foreign policy has made a wreck of this planet. I'm always in Africa. That's my business. I move among the poor. I move among the tragic. I move among those who are the victims of human and moral disaster. And when I move to these places, I see American policy written on the walls of oppression everywhere. And I occasionally see some representative from our Congress or from our government coming to visit, coming to take another look, to get some more facts, to come back and to make a report. We don't need an independent committee to find out what happened and what is happening to this country. Our last independent committee told us. And Bush and the arrogance of these people to go off again and play the same scenario because they know that we ain't going to make a difference before where they want to go has to be changed. We have to give them a call to a new awakening. We know when they give a contract, a no-bid contract to Halliburton, we know what they did when they gave that contract to Halliburton in Iraq. We know what they do when they suspend minimum wage and go out and get immigrants to come in and to do the dirty work. And in suspending the minimum wage are setting black people and brown people and immigrants and men and women against one another, when we should in fact be uniting. So I would hope that while the Black Caucus celebrates its moment, while we have all these wonderful black leaders and our white progressive associates, that we would get off the rhetoric, get off the redundancy, and dig deep into this country, and let George W. Bush, let the Christian right, let a whole bunch of folks that's running away with this nation know that their legs have just been amputated. I'll rest my case.